We are ready for another episode of Optimizing Human Performance. This is a program that's brought to you by INVITAS. It's an organization catering to the betterness of human wellness and all this beautiful stuff that we talk about every show here, but with the difference that it's all the aspects that you guys bring to this perspective of vitamin infusion, acupuncture, hypnosis, massage, and so much more. So we're glad to have you guys here again today with another topic, and it has to do with boundaries. So we want to learn about that, learning to when to say no to so many things, and I think we all need a lesson in that. Learning how to say no. So we bring it on to you. Welcome. You guys are looking at me like, when is he gonna stop? Please. Welcome.
Take it away, Doc. Take it away.
Thanks, Vitamin Rich. And thank you, Kike, and thank you everyone for tuning in. So another topic that comes up in terms of function and performance and what holds us back from achieving our optimal levels of function performance is boundary setting, healthy boundaries. Sometimes we overextend ourselves and take on too much, and we have trouble saying no, but assertive, respectful, direct. Or a yes, but, and qualify that somehow. We need some qualifiers sometimes. And a lot of us just give our power away to our family, our friends, our coworkers, and it limits our growth because we already have a lot on our plate as it is, and somebody's going to come in and say, hey, can you help me with whatever? Drop everything, and we run and do oftentimes because we become pigeonholed as that go-to person. We're resourceful, we're helpful, we're friendly, we're kind, best case scenario, but we're not always kind to ourselves. Sometimes we sacrifice our own self-care and our self-love and those requirements in order to help other people. How many people do you know, or maybe you yourself, we get burned out because everyone else comes before us. Actually, you're number one. You're number one. If you don't take care of your own self-care and you don't have the self-love in that part of your life style where it needs to be, how can you help anyone else with the capacity that you might rather or they might need that kind of assistance? So healthy boundaries. It's important to know how to prioritize your own self-care, self-love, and how to keep your relationships, professional, personal, spiritual, healthy and growing so that we can all grow together, right? A rising tide lifts all boats, as we've said. Sometimes not just to protect your own self and resources, but saying no can be good for them. Sometimes people need to hear no, but a respectful no, so that they can continue growing in their journey and not be enabled. They need to go through the challenges that they're facing and not necessarily push things onto other people's plates, as willing as we may be to take it on. And maybe we can. And we can do it admirably and gracefully and still say no, because it's good for them to walk through those doors themselves. Thoughts, Vitamin Rich?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for tagging me.
Welcome. Yes, tag.
And this is what's so exciting about this, because when you talk about optimizing human performance, boundaries are just limitations, and we break right through those. And so when one can say easily that maybe perhaps those nutrients are for the further growth of the other person, you're actually dismissing yourself from the further growth of your own self by putting it off on them. You're almost doing what they're doing. You're kind of doing it back to them. The truth of the matter is that these limitations really, when I asked these elite people that I talk to, these athletes, I called them and I was like, hey, listen, this is the topic that we have, and I just want to know, what's your feedback? What are boundaries? And they specifically said, what is that? I don't know. I don't have boundaries. And I'm thinking, oh, you might want to have, there's good and bad boundaries. That's not what they're seeing. They are just living in their optimal performance. They are performing at their best. It's a mindset. So your boundaries are your limitations. You should be able to break through those limitations and not have boundaries because you are connected within. So the boundaries is a mental aspect. It's a visual aspect of, I can't do that. But you can't do that because you're not connected with yourself. You should be able to be in an environment with all these triggers and carry yourself in such a way, and that those are just reflections of who you used to be. It's not who you are. If you are still that person and you feel you need boundaries, that's important too, because eventually you're going to have to break through that. So it's good to have boundaries to some point, but don't get stuck on boundaries, because boundaries are limiting.
I always find
That's really good, right?
Man, powerful.
boundaries connected to self-value.
Yes, I'm
Like
getting to that.
when we have low self-esteem or we don't value our time, we hardly say no. We hardly set boundaries. Do you see that relationship?
I do, and I'm so glad you brought this up, because boundaries can be very limiting in a way. And how do we grow from one level to the next if our boundaries do lock us into a tight framework of whatever? And so our boundaries have to be, in that sense, kind of permeable. We have to keep some stuff out that's not good for us and let some stuff in that we may need in order to grow. But I think part of it is with mindset, being empowered to take that choice, where we choose, hey, what's good for me? What's good for my betterment, growth, development, fulfillment? And maybe there's enough space. The boundaries are so vast that I can fit all kinds of other people and situations into and just carry them along with me, because I'm going to go. And, somebody might come up and challenge those boundaries. I need those nutrients, I need that. I need those challenges. I need to reflect on that. And it is good for them, and it's good for me to be in these situations. There's what they call decorum, the rules of the relationship, like teacher, student, parent, child, husband, wife, et cetera, right? And there's certain rules, a guest, a host, there's some unspoken rules there in terms of how a relationship might work. And if we could develop together, then everyone can grow. But, there's always the bad guest who overstays their welcome, or the host who doesn't, know how to bring water to all the people, and they're parched, obviously, or whatever it is. I don't know. But these
I try to be a good host. When you guys come here, I try my best. Okay, if you're saying that because I'm not gonna take it personal.
No, indeed, but they have to be permeable, like Richard said. You can't be locked into these boundaries. They may hold you back from growing and living your best life.
Yeah, you have to be in that environment in order to know which character is present. Yeah. And growing and application. What good is knowledge if you can't apply it? And so if you're in this position in which you're just comfortable in these boundaries, growth happens outside of your comfort zone. So you have to push yourself to that limit to see, I always say the best view is from the edge. And if you're just comfortable and you're complacent, it stunts your growth. And from my understanding, life is about experiences and feeling, and that's what you carry with you onto the next chapter of our lives, if you will, is love, is that vibration, is that energy. And so experiences is profoundly important. So yeah, a lot of this has to do though also with self-awareness and self-care, self-love. And if you're saying yes to so many things, what happens is like I was mentioning, you lose the value of the word yes. Once you start saying no, whenever you do say a yes, there's a lot more value to it, because you usually are able to say no. So self-awareness and self-love, time management is a big factor. And you can want to do everything in the world, but everyone has 24 hours in the day. And if you're trying to compress 12 hours in 2 hours, you're going to feel overwhelmed. And you're going to feel like you have to say yes to everything, because you have too much on your plate. Too much on your plate simply signifies that you need better time management, and dedication is a big thing. To be dedicated to something. If I'm dedicated to you and I'm saying yes somewhere else, am I fully present here? So it's about being present. It's about valuing and respecting your own time. Because if you value and respect your own space, it's difficult for somebody else to throw you off their space, and or of your space. I'm sorry, in the sense that then you're fully present in your own place, and people can ask you whatever they want to ask you and need of you in any which way, shape, or form. You just make time for them in the future. It doesn't require an emergency and for me to stop everything right now for whatever you may be going through. It's just a matter of me knowing that I have XYZ on my plate. And I can't start with A if I'm on Y. So these are the little things that when you start to respect time and space, you then start to create these boundaries of, I'd love to be there, I appreciate you asking for me to be there, I'll get there as soon as I can, but right now I can't because it's going to keep me from an obligation that I've already committed to. And so then it starts to make you question your word. What is your word worth? If I tell you I'm going to be there and I'm not there, or I'm not fully present there, who's showing up? Who am I talking to? Who am I dealing with right now? And these are the things that it's important to understand boundaries, because in these boundaries are characters. And a very wise man has clearly showed me that we can feel too much pressure in these small spaces. And that's where flexing comes into breathing, grounding, things of that awareness. And oftentimes that pressure in that space is preparing you for the next greater space that you're then walking into. So oftentimes these boundaries are important for us to know what's our limit before we cross over to the next level. So yes.
And I wanted to touch on, you brought up some, because you've had a lot of experience working with the elites, athletes, celebrities, people that are definitely challenging with their comfort zone. And you've mentioned dedication. You've mentioned a lot of qualities that when you look at an elite athlete, and like I was hearing earlier today, Uma Thurman, who's training for Kill Bill. This was a little while ago. The whole cast, right, is they trained 8 hours a day for 3 months.
Wow.
Not to become a martial artist or a world champion, a UFC fighter, but to play a character in a movie. Right, that's dedication.
Wow,
right?
That's nice.
Now, but this is something that separates is in mindset. How does a person who's working on that elite level not only have the value of themselves, they're worth it, to be challenging themselves to continually step out of their comfort zone and move into the areas that other people might look from the outside and say, wow, that's impossible. I could never do that, but you can. This is one thing that separates the elites and CEOs and people of that nature is they may seem sociopathic in a way. They're getting up at 5 a.m., they're at the gym every morning, and they're doing the things that other people don't do, not because they can't, but they have that dedication and that commitment to their own self-love and their own development, right? Would you say?
Absolutely. I think it's...
or else everybody would be doing it. You can, but it takes that level of commitment to yourself and to step out of your comfort zone, or else how will we grow much at all? And sometimes a yes, but I can't now, or a no is necessary to keep your boundaries open so you can flex and jump as needed and not, right? Because we can flex it in our level. You can flex for a day or for a week, but you can't flex for a year.
Right.
Eventually you have to jump into that next level, and we have to create the comfort and trust in ourselves to do it. And with dedication and training, mindset, all of that enables those jumps to take place. But I think if we put too much on our plate and put ourselves second, third, 10th, how do you get the resources together to make those leaps into areas that are not comfortable from the get-go, but you don't grow unless you step out of your comfort zone, right? That's what I'm taking away from what you said about the elites.
What's beautiful about that, too, is there has to be a point in which when you do say no, when you do put those boundaries, if you will, that you feel a sense of greatness and accomplishment, that you are able to say no and value your time. And then exhale and just be like, hey, my intention was pure. I'm not a bad person for saying no. I don't have to people please people just to say yes. I can actually respect my space and say, I can't right now. And if the person is genuine, they would understand and embrace that and be like, wow, that takes a lot of strength to say no. I appreciate this. Whenever you have some time, perhaps maybe we can do this, or at your earliest convenience, can you? Something along those natures. But it's a matter of also building people up rather than breaking them down. And I've noticed that tends to happen when we try to work on self-awareness. We're so busy chiseling away at our character that we start to chisel away at other people's character because we see how it plays with our character. And the reality of it is we're just playing a character. We're all beings having human experiences.
So true.
And so this is just...
one of our topics has been, not on this show, but our own personal conversations, has been alchemy, the transformation process, right?
Because everything that we talk here comes from the real life experiences.
And of course. So, alchemy is part of is an ancient tradition of transforming, refining these characters into more sophisticated versions of what they can be. But something interesting about this work is that typically it's all in code. It's in symbols. It's like a secret language of chemistry or secret societies that encode or hide a lot of this stuff. Right?
It is Friday,
It is Friday. You got to be initiated, if you will, into a tradition or whatever, and experience things. But one of the reasons that they encode a lot of this information in a secret language, if you will, is not so that only so that the person who's not ready doesn't jump ahead of themselves and burn out or crash and burn, but so that the person who's initiating isn't obligated. You open the door for somebody, but you can't walk through the door with them. They have to go through the door. If I take somebody along with me, I'm obligated. If they crash and burn, was I a bad teacher? What did I do? Was I not clear? What I did A, B, C, but they needed D, E, and F, and I didn't know that because my learning is still incomplete. Whatever the case in point is, right? We're all learning and growing. But you open the door and people step through. We're not obligated to the other partners in terms of relationships. Everyone has to do their own learning and growing. And sometimes you open the door and they have to go. Sometimes saying no closes a door, opens another door. And they need that for their own growth and development. They need to hear no. And you, to challenge where you're at in your comfort zone, need to say no more often. And I'm speaking to myself also, because I'm an empath. I'm not as assertive as the other guy might be. And I'm learning and growing too. So I'm always, as all of us are, I'm sure.
So tell me,
challenged in our life to do this.
You guys are you have your operation. You bring health to people. They're lost health, and you have to listen to stories every day. So talk about being empaths. You have to cope with that. You have to listen to all kinds of crazy stories. You do also psychology at the same time. So what is the relationship between this topic and achieving that lost health? How is INVITAS involved in this whole
the only thing I'll say, I'm turn it over to you,
and
is
therapy thing?
Well, actually, I'd love for you to take this one, but one of the things that Richard's always saying is you got to come first. The client who comes through our door, they're now the guest in our space. We cater to their prioritizing themselves. We set up the experience that they themselves can have the deepest, most profound healing experience possible for them, because they're here now. They're number one. They take the step to prioritize healing and wellness and growth and function. And sometimes it's a lot for people to take that choice. A lot. But them putting themselves in terms of time management, like you were saying, and priorities, they have to say, no, this hour is just for me.
Right.
And I think we support that in a lot of ways. But maybe you have some anything you would share there.
Yes, I do. I actually I love what you were saying in regards to opening the door and holding the door open. And at what capacity are we able to, what's the whole point of this? And really what that made me understand was to try and understand what the purpose is, perhaps is almost irrelevant, rather than accepting the fact that your capacity to be even able to hold the door open and get someone through is really the essence of doing the divinity, doing God's work, allowing that growth of an opportunity. Where it leads to, whether piggybacking them or having to piggyback them or holding the door or showing them, it's so important because it's growth for both. But ultimately, I think the essential point of this is it's about unity, and it's a matter of both people who are on the other side of the boundary line. Both of them are growing and experiencing and are learning. Yeah. So there's really no separation between the two, because you're either setting the boundaries or you're breaking right through them.
I love you said that.
It's the same concept of the mindset of how you approach it. For me to think that I have obligations of being a certain way, no, the only thing that I have to do is be my best version, or at least accept myself as my best version. What anyone else takes from that, it is what it is. It's going to fit into what is going on in their life and what their limitations are and what they can and cannot accept. I'm not for everybody, but I am for those people who do love me and who do accept me and can gravitate towards me. But that doesn't take away from my self-value. In fact, that makes me embrace my uniqueness. In that sense, everybody I look at with the same eyes. So what we do really in our practice when you talk about empathy and creating this space is, at least for myself, I see those signs and symptoms that these guests are presenting themselves with. I see my own deficiencies in them. And it points out to me where it is that I, too, need to constantly be staying on a healthier mindset, healthier lifestyle, carrying myself in a healthier way, detox, intake, all of those things, meditate, pray, love, be open, grounding, air. All of these amazing things is what helps optimizing human performance. So in conclusion, really what we do is, I feel, is that we see these reflections in our guests. And because we've really worked very efficiently to overcome these experiences and growth and learning, at least in myself, I'm definitely not the same person that I was a year and a half ago. I'm telling you that right now. And a lot of it not only has to do with what we have to offer, but it's because of the amazing Dr. Justin Newman. And don't ever get that twisted. Don't ever forget that. A lot of it is because of the way he helped me understand what was going on in my head, in my heart, and in my environment. And what the hell am I really even doing here? So I will always, forever be thankful for that. And I know it was your teachers.
I appreciate it. I wasn't,
you, man.
This time I wasn't actually going to, and thank you for my teachers.
Don't be so humble.
Without my teachers, I also wouldn't be where I am. But our experiences. I love that you say this, because you're having your own experience of learning and growing. And other people gravitate, don't gravitate. It doesn't matter.
Right.
You're having your own unique experience. It's not my job to hold a door, and it's not someone's job to open a door. I'm just having an experience. A door is opening.
Exactly.
That's not my job.
Absolutely.
So I think a lot of people, I'm not just saying for myself or yourself, this is people in general, this is where they get things twisted too, is that they don't know what is their job. Their job is to just learn and grow and have these experiences. They don't have to do anything. I'm not obligated to, any one of us, I'm not obligated to open a door. I'm not the doorman.
Right.
I'm experiencing something. A door opens.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's
not my job to open doors. It's only my job as an embodied soul to have experiences and learn and grow in my uniqueness, like you said. And treasure that in each other. As mirrors for each other, right? We see that in each other. Deficiencies and challenges, we're mirrors, and I can reflect on that, and I can grow faster.
Right.
We're catalysts for each other, but having our own unique experience and appreciating, wow, this is possible.
Yes.
Nobody is really stuck, truly, to experience and grow. The job is to experience and learn and grow.
Right.
And that's where it stops.
Right.
Things happen as a result of that, but if I say, well, my job is now to open doors, then I'm not in my experience anymore.
Wow.
I'm not there.
This is deep. Look what you just taught me, my man. Because the way I'm resonate, or the way that resonates with me is, it also determines on the relationship that I have with myself.
Powerful. Wow.
And the way, because these experiences, as far as you saying that the door just opens, it's just a door opening. It just, on a personal level, I've been thinking this whole time about this character and how he feels. And I was focusing, and that goes to prove your point. It's the experience that I'm having, the fact that the door opened. It's who is that character who is present after the fact that the door opened. And based off of the connection that I have with myself and the relationship that I have with myself is the lens in which I see the world in. Because if I talk to myself harshly and I'm hard on myself, I'm going to look at the view of life and these opportunities as a challenge, because I look at everything as conflicted. But if I have self-love and awareness and I see that it's just an experience, I have a fuller and more open heart and a clearer mind to see what is really going on. What am I really experiencing? With no hard feelings. kick the ego to the side and just be present and recognize greatness. Like, wow, this is another person having another human experience. How can I learn and help them, in which helps me grow and learn too? So it's a mirror, it's a beautiful resemblance of the divinity within all of us, and how when you connect with someone, you can really profoundly connect the mind, body, being, and that is, I think, ultimately the highest vibration.
Well, you know, and on that level, you know, not to go down any kind of biblical road or whatever, but you know, in the New Testament, it's without condition. If you knock, it's opened. If you look, you'll find it. If you ask, it's given. Without condition. Without condition. Knock and it's open for you. That's it. If you approach it, I think, at this level, like you're suggesting, of love and openness, and you're resonating in the creation at a certain, you know, capacity, when this is the law of attraction, right? As we look, we're going to be finding those things that are embedded in our experience at that time. You know? As the trouble is, we send mixed messages to the universe.
Yes.
You know, I'm asking for this, but thinking about that or the other thing, and the creation's like, "What do you want? $1 million? A day on the beach? You know,
get your beat together." No. So right now we're experiencing so many threats to freedom, to liberty. I know. It's hard to even grasp the size of dimension of what we're going through, but how can we work internally? That's basically my question. There's so little we can do on the outside, but what can we do on the inside to set these boundaries? I know it's kind of philosophical, but how can we work on ourselves to stay strong and center amidst the storm that we're living in?
Well, you've been talking about mindset for a while. I would say, as you guys well know, you can be imprisoned in the body, but it's difficult to imprison somebody's mind. You know, the artist in prison is still free to create their poetry and their art, right?
That's beautiful. Wow.
You know, our mindset is at our disposal, even if our bodies might be compromised, and hopefully not so much, because there's things obviously we can do to keep our bodies strong. But mindset, you know, your own sense of self-value and worth and spirituality and power, that really can't be contained unless we choose to give it away. You know, fear is the great mind killer.
Wow, that's deep. You know, it's interesting. Along with mindset, it's just something that just kind of comes to mind right now, is passion. Passion. Wow. You can be in your mind all day, every day. That's all you can do, is just be in the four walls of your mind. Or you can tap into the heart, you can tap into the passion, into the desire, and you can go out of those four walls and literally create it. So one of the things that I would definitely recommend is not only when you're tapping into your mindset, but I would just kind of close my eyes and start jumping up and down. Just start getting the body to start moving. This is just something that's coming into mind as we speak here. So forgive me if this sounds kind of weird, but I think it would be great, right? You just close your eyes.
No, we like those live insights.
Well, you've been a great motivator, coach in athletics and other spheres, so this is in your experience.
Yeah, definitely.
It's coming to mind because you've done this. You've seen this.
Most
You've done
definitely.
this.
I feel it. I experience it. But it's something on the fly that I'm actually going on. I'm just the experience in the moment. So when you're jumping up and down and you got your eyes either closed or open, you start breathing. What that does is it increases your heart rate. It increases your blood pressure. It starts to dump adrenaline into your body. You feel like you're going somewhere. You don't know where you're going. You just know you're going up and down, and we're going somewhere. So when you start to get that mindset and that physical feeling within you, it starts to stir up all these other endorphins in your brain that starts to be released in your body. And now you're charged. It's called priming. It's called priming. You are primed. You are ready to go. Where are we going? I don't know, but I know we're going. And that's the difference. You got to tap into that energy, that frequency, and know and respect yourself and love yourself enough to know that when you show up, you are present and you are showing up. You're not just attending. You are there. And that everybody's like that. Unfortunately, most people miss that part, and they don't value themselves enough to say, I'm here. They're just kind of showing up. And there's a difference when you show up and when you just appear. Showing up is essential. I think that's a part of mindset and self-awareness, that when you show up, you know your greatness. And that is who is ultimately fully present that we're working on. But it takes some time to get there. And a lot of it is going to happen through passion, heartache, because heartaches will get you going into the right direction.
Sometimes I say they can take everything from us, but they can take our emotions, our sensitivity to art, to feeling. We won't let that happen. We need to enjoy more, enjoy music, enjoy art, because the more we enjoy, the more we really appreciate these expressions of humankind. We're going to stay in that frequency that we need.
Yes. And
So-
are you allowed to? Do you allow yourself to be loved? If someone comes and says to you, Kike, man, I love you, man. You are so awesome. What does that mean to you? Is that thank you? Wow, this guy is a lot of hype. What? Because you're not looking at you through my eyes. So
Right.
are you capable of allowing yourself to be loved?
Well, it's easy when it's coming from you guys. It's easy for me because we have that empathy with that connection. But I have to confess, sometimes it's hard on a stranger.
Of course.
It's hard.
It's very hard. It's very hard.
Yeah.
You know how I learned this, actually? I witnessed this because there was, and I'm sure it's no surprise to people who know me, but there's been times in my life where I've been incredibly, profoundly lonely, very much so. And I started going out and I started giving random people flowers. And I was that weird, creepy guy. I was.
Like the
people were like,
pre-hug.
"What are you
Not in
doing?
like a Mooney's
What are
kind
you
of cult
doing?"
sort of
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
but
no, it was just
in
like-
another.
But it's like
Wrong number.
Like, what is your angle? Why are you giving me a flower?
Yeah.
And really, all I was trying to do was find a sense of belonging. I just wanted to have a connection with someone and just tell. And I wouldn't tell them anything other than just have a beautiful day. Thank you. That's all I was saying. I'm not there to talk. I don't want to know your name. I'm not here to, tell you my name. I was just trying to feel something. I was in a really bad place. Judge all you want. I don't really care. I'm just recognizing where I was at. And why is it so weird for someone to tell you have a nice, beautiful day and give you a flower? Why is that so abstract? It's not. Because all those people wanted to feel it.
You know the free hugs.
Yes,
People,
free hugs. I'm one of those
It's wonderful.
guys. I'm one of those people.
You're that type.
Yes, that's me. You know why, ultimately? Because I need it. Let's just be honest here. I need it. If I don't feel it, I need it. I can put my hands on my heart and hug myself, self-love, and blah, 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 blah. We need connections. We need to belong to something. We're tribal people. We need to feel that. We need to feel that admiration, too, and that connection and that feeling. I try to get 11 hugs a day. Even if 10 of them is just me hugging myself, that's okay.
Or a tree.
That's the
A
next
tree.
segment, self-love.
Well, they've done some study where a hug of 30 seconds or more changes the brain chemistry. Powerful stuff.
That gave me chills.
Bringing it back to this idea of setting and breaking through boundaries is this too. We let in what we need and invite what we need. And we give what we can, because everyone needs. We're all social creatures, like you said, and these ways of keeping and expanding into further and further levels of growth and possibility, can be guided with this idea of putting ourselves out there, and asking for what we need and going out there and getting what we need. Sometimes it's not always going to just fall in our lap. We have to go out there and get it and make it happen.
What we need?
Do we even know what we need? Do we even know?
I don't. Wow, man, this is why I love talking to you, man.
I love that.
These questions.
Some characters, the guy's at the gym, and the character's the bodybuilder, and the bodybuilder thinks, I need to put in 2 more sets. That's for that character.
Yeah,
but maybe
exactly.
the person, the being inside the character is like, 2 more sets, and
Exactly.
I need a green smoothie, and I need to go into the sauna,
Whoa.
I need to meditate, and then, I need to bring flowers home.
Yeah.
It's not only in the bodybuilding, it's the rest of the being that needs to be intended to. So we don't always know what we need. So only the character has an idea of what the character needs at that level.
Yes.
And we're not connecting with ourselves and prioritizing what do I as an embodied soul, a soulful level, what do I need? And what can I bring to the world around me? All the relationships to maintain their health and harmony and productivity.
This is one of those aha moments.
Yeah, because this is what happens. It's through self-awareness, through talking, through communicating. is when you get to see what resonates with you. Oftentimes when I say things, I'm like, did I just really say that? No, I got to hear myself say that. But I hear Dr. Newman talk. I hear you speak, Kike, and it makes me aware of different things that are going on in my mind, body, and being. And this is something that's very true. What am I really looking for? What's my purpose? What are we doing? And that can change. So I just constantly have to be asking myself. I can answer that question in a short answer, but that doesn't mean that the same person that I am before I came into this conversation is the same person that I am walking out of it. And so it makes me really understand. I've been having these feelings within these past couple weeks. It's just the character having these feelings. It's not even my being. My being is ultimate. It's on a higher frequency. It's like, look at how tight you are in this character. I'm sending you the light, love, and energy to expand and flex. When are you going to jump? I didn't even understand that was his word. I was in the matrix trying to figure out what's going on until a wise man told me jump. And I said, oh.
You can only flex for so long.
You see what I'm saying? So it's an aha moment because, again, it's like I always said, circling back to I'm grateful for everything he's taught me. He's put things into perspective.
I'm glad we were saying aha now, third time, because the aha is the opening of the mind, right? Aha. And the ah is the opening of the heart, and the ha-ha is the opening of the body.
Oh, I love that.
Crazy, right? Another one of my teachers.
I love that.
Ed Baker, may he rest in peace. Anyway, that's not important for right now. The important thing is staying on mission. As we were mission and purpose oriented is something that we've been talking about these last few weeks, especially. Is how do we stay on mission and purpose? Everything else will start to fall into place as we work on the higher frequencies of what's really happening here. You know, if we stay on mission, everything else will start to manifest in harmony with that mission.
Right.
And we don't get lost in the details as much as characters may, because on a soulful level is all about why are we here having this experience? What is our mission as we've incarnated in this body at this time, right? It's not only to stick needles in people or to do infusions. There's so much more going on.
Maybe I'm guessing, just real quick, maybe ultimately the obligation or the challenge is to have the experience and the self-love and awareness of yourself. And then everything else will fall into place.
Wow.
Once you connect with yourself, and I almost feel it's about gratitude. And this, it's not, you know, I'm not an egotistical person, and like in that sense, I am a grateful person of what God has blessed me with. I can tell you all these other things that I would prefer to be, but then that would be taking for who I am for granted. So I carry myself with that energy. And once I'm grateful and appreciative of what and who I am, everything then makes sense. The moment that I stop to lose appreciation of who I am, that's when you start to people please, you start to put yourself in places that you try to compensate for a lack of place. A lot of these feelings comes from disconnect. But the more I connect with myself, there's a refined version who's communicating to you. And this is all a practice of what we do, of self-awareness, mindfulness, nutrition of the mind, body, being. Something that we'll be getting into then is mental illness is driven by inflammation.
Okay.
A future topic.
A future topic.
Yeah, one of many great topics.
So let's think. Let's first talk about self-love. We'll get into that because we got to really strengthen the self-love. Because would you harm someone you love? And if you love yourself, you're not going to harm yourself. So let's throwing something out there. The addict who loves himself can be in an environment but loves himself and says, maybe this isn't the place for me to be, or I can be here and I love myself too much to not consume these things. So self-love is essential. If you're broken, those opportunities flare up. Now they're demons because now you know you can fall into that trap. So self-love is really the way to go on this. Let's go. Self-love. It's time. It's time.
So just to remind, we are coming to you live at this time every week. And you can learn more about INVITAS, Invitas for Life, by visiting their website, invitasforlife.com. INVITAS is based in Miami, and you can reach them on this number, 305-663-5696. You can set your appointment for anything, starting from IV infusion.
Or even just to consult with us if you don't know where to begin. Let's just have a conversation, map something out.
Yes. But just to mention the wide array of services, Dr. Newman, can you remind us?
Acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine, primary healthcare, holistic functional medicine, diagnostic testing, IV infusions for detox, vitamin therapy, all kinds of massage therapies, hypnotherapy, mental health counseling, hypnopuncture, Acu-IV, coaching. The list is virtually endless. The experiences are tailored to what each of our guests needs.
Shoulder to cry on.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
If you need a hug, please feel free to reach out to me, because most likely I would be needing that hug too. So if you would please.
You have a
and those
you have to fill of
those come for free.
Those come for free. Absolutely, most definitely. Wow, what an amazing experience. Can you imagine if somebody actually called me and said, "Hey, I need a hug"?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Just imagine where they're at to feel that. I would be grateful to be able
Get in line.
Get in line.
Get in line. Hug yourself first.
Yep. That's interesting. Very nice.
Okay, so I think we got our point
Yes, we did.
Thanks, Kike.
across, and
Absolutely.
we're just hoping that you enjoyed.
Yes.
If you were live with us,
Nice.
or if you're watching at a later time, please subscribe. Follow any of the platforms you're watching this show right now. Please follow INVITAS. They are trying really hard to bring an option, an alternative to your health.
And something that's timely
Yes.
for you. We haven't mentioned this to date, and it's maybe late in the show, but if there are topics that you want to hear about,
Yes, great point.
right, or that maybe something we've said doesn't align, share your opinion. Send in your questions, topics, your feedback. You can email us through the site. You can DM us at Invitas for Life, the Insta page. Call us, text us. What would you like to hear more about? Share your feedback, your questions, your thoughts with us at any time. We'd love to grow around topics that are relevant for you too. So reach out.
Excellent. So we're going to be wrapping up. Thank you for your attention.
Awesome.
And
Friday. Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you,
make
guys.
sure you make it worth
Let's go.
smiling about. Feel the connection, feel grateful. These are wonderful times, no matter what they say, incredible times to achieve what we came here for. So we wish you the best on that endeavor. Have a happy weekend.